This is the voice of Idaho agriculture. Each week, we bring you agriculture news and perspective. Stay tuned to this week's Idaho Farm Bureau's weekly podcast from the state capitol. Thanks for joining us. I'm Jake Putnam. A panel of economic experts offer their thoughts on the current farm economy and some trends going forward at a recent Farm Foundation Forum. Rod Bain reports from Washington.
Issues and impacts connected to the farm economy in the now and what that might mean in 2020 and beyond. Those were the topics of discussion among experts at a Farm Foundation Forum in Washington, D.C. Tuesday. Economic experts with various past connections to the Agriculture Department.
A lot of the on-the-ground financial conditions suggest farmers and ranchers are still having a hard time. Can it get better? I absolutely think it can get better.
Given these fixed target levels on the PLC program, we have commodity prices that are today at a level that are pushing us from one program to another.
Farmers don't like to have a big share of that farm income coming from government payments, but I would also argue that where we are at in farm income now, not so unusual compared to history.
We're going through this transition in the farm economy from one generation to the next, but I don't see that land going out of production.
John Newton of the American Farm Bureau Federation, Mississippi State University's Keith Coble, and the University of Missouri's Seth Meyer, respectively. I'm Rod Bain reporting for the U.S. Department of Agriculture in Washington, D.C.
The Agriculture Department's number 2 official briefed lawmakers on various aspects of the 2018 Farm Bill implementation. Rod Bain reports.
Here's an update on 2018 Farm Bill implementation by the Agriculture Department.
Our implementation cadence has been aggressive. This includes opening up sign-up for the Dairy Margin Coverage Program. RMA has implemented key crop insurance provisions such as multi-county enterprise units. The Farm Service Agency readily implemented provisions, changes to ARC and PLC with sign-up for 2019.
Among some of the programs now available and enrollment periods underway, according to Agriculture Deputy Secretary Stephen Sensky. The Deputy Secretary recently told the Senate Agriculture Committee that the pace of 2018 Farm Bill implementation, everything from regulations, notices of funding availabilities, actions, reports, and studies, closely tracks with implementation progress of the 2014 Farm Bill.
We also are working overall to implement over 400 discrete provisions of the Farm Bill and working hard to deliver the programs that serve the urgent needs of our customers.
Now, this is merely the first few months of the life of the 5-year Farm Bill, and Deputy Secretary Sensky acknowledges there are many more Farm Bill programs to implement. Some of that progress is expected to take place through the end of 2019 and in the early months of 2020. That includes
the new CRP sign-up. We will be opening sign-up in early December, and we believe that that will be the largest sign-up ever. We plan early in the new year also opening up the CRP grassland sign-up. In the short-term soil health and income protection program, we anticipate that that sign-up, that pilot, would open up in the spring.
Meanwhile, the Office of Management and Budget is conducting review of the National Hemp Production Program created under the 2018 Farm Bill.
We would expect to be issuing the interim final rule here within the next couple of weeks. The Agriculture Marketing Service has been working aggressively to stand up the hemp production program in advance of the 2020 planting season.
And in the realm of animal disease prevention and preparedness, work continues to implement a national animal vaccine and veterinary countermeasures bank to protect against outbreaks of animal disease, such as foot and mouth disease. The Deputy Secretary says a procurement plan is being developed for needed vaccines and stockpiles of such.
We look forward to going out and starting that request for proposals for the acquisition of those serotypes toward the end of the year or the beginning of the next calendar year.
I'm Rod Bain reporting for the U.S. Department of Agriculture in Washington, D.C.
In the West, it's either wet or dry depending on where you are in the region. Stephanie Ho has more.
Out in the West, some areas are dry, others not so much.
Looking at a continuation of wet weather, we've seen it over essentially the last month or so across parts of the Northwest, in particular the Cascade Range extending from Oregon up into Washington.
That was USDA meteorologist Eric Lubehusen, who says it's the opposite story when you move down the coast.
We're seeing dry weather, though, across much of the southwestern quadrant of the nation, and that is also leading to a localized enhanced risk of wildfires across the southern southern third of coastal California, right along the coast there, pretty much from Santa Barbara south.
Meanwhile, in Texas,
we seem to be going in and out of drought across Texas. The recent rain has been good news across the northeastern quadrant of the state, while the panhandle has been dry.
At the same time, he says the Texas panhandle got a little rain earlier this month, which means it's not as dry as Kansas or Colorado. This is Stephanie Ho for the U.S. Department of Agriculture in Washington, D.C.
And the American Farm Bureau turns 100 years old. And the Fremont County Farm Bureau is observing the milestone as part of their 100-day challenge. Grassroots Farm Bureau members of Fremont County Farm Bureau are celebrating the American Farm Bureau's 100th anniversary with a food drive that will celebrate the anniversary and benefit their community.
Well, we were encouraged by our district to come up with a way to do the 100-day challenge, and I like to really go out on things, so I was trying to see how we could incorporate farming into the food drive.
The American Farm Bureau Federation's national program committees encourage county members to give back to charities and are calling it the 100-Day Centennial Challenge.
You know, there's people that are going to be hungry and more than happy to help to make sure there's food in people's bellies.
Stiglmeier's fundraiser centers around a popular dance.
So my kids are really into this get-up dance, and so I thought, hey, farmers could do that. That'd be a really fun thing to see. And so that's kind of where that whole idea came up, was just I knew we could get a lot of donations through using the farmers.
And do you want to be dancing at the halftime of a basketball game?
Not very bad, so that's not going to happen, let's just say that.
Do you even know how to dance?
Yeah, but not too many people have seen it.
So how does the Get Up thing work?
The Get Up is a fun dance by Uncle Brown, and so there's all kinds of YouTube videos where people are challenged, and it's a line dance.
Well, actually, I take my box and I put it in the others because I don't want to dance. I'm not a very good dancer.
The Get Up Dance Food Drive will benefit 2 local food banks that are in dire need of food donations right now, and a local store is helping out.
The stuff that they usually ask for is like applesauce or carrots, things that aren't mainstream vegetables. Almost everybody donates corn, beans, that sort of stuff.
That's it for this week's podcast. You can drop us a line on Twitter or on Facebook and tell us what you thought of this week's program. For Steve Ritter, this is Jake Putnam and the voice of Idaho Agriculture.